But it is time to get into the game. It is time for us to see the first match get underway. If you've got any more questions or you want to know more about it, you can obviously head over to the VR League website or hit me and John up on Twitter. Give us a message. John himself has been doing this as your second season now, right? So you are becoming the veteran of the VR League here.
Third season, actually.
Ooh, okay, so you go. Third season.
Been here the whole time. It's been a lot of fun.
You are not. You're committed now.
Yeah. It's been very cool to see how we evolved. It was obviously called the VR Challenger League back in the first season, of course, and then we changed it to the VR League for Season 2, and now we're here in Season 3. So we're on Suburbia, though. This is a new map. We haven't seen it played, at least not in this season. Just as this is personally my favorite map. It's a very well-balanced map. You know, it's very well lit. So you don't have any visibility issues for the most part. Good amount of options for both the defenders and the attackers, and there doesn't really seem to be any like unfair uplink points or anything like that on this map. And they're still like very different and unique. This is actually the most exciting one as well. So it's going to be really cool to start this off because it's contained in what the players just call the mansion, the biggest house on the map there at the south central side of it. And basically it oftentimes comes down to one or two defenders just holding on the inside of that house and trying to either run the timer down and win on that, or of course just trying to peek out the windows really quickly, picking players off. It makes it a very kind of almost like it's a siege of some kind or something like that. So it's a very cool map to watch play out, especially on this capture point.
Now already seeing some of the Phoenix players make their way down past the East White car down towards the bus. They're going to start to position themselves over on this east side. They want to kind of hold and take some control here, right? And this is what it's all about. Early on, clearing out the positions, not leaving yourself to a position where you could get flanked from, where you could quickly be caught off guard. And this is the big difference. You really don't get away with making mistakes here. One mistake and it's game over for you. And that is maybe very different to what other people think when it comes down to other FPS games.
Yeah, TTK in this game, compared to most others, is incredibly low. So one or two shots are just a very well-placed nade in your life. Like we almost had happen right there. Hans getting a little bit lucky, although he would have gotten plenty of warning, to be fair, so probably would have been able to escape that regardless. But that nade just off the mark, so it ends up on the other side of the white fence. And he'll just maintain the position underneath the car cover there.
But that's a really good nade as well, just coming out from Phoenix, to throw that out and expect someone could be there or close by. Gives them a good awareness of like, okay, look, we've got an understanding of how Globochem may play this.
That Thunder Pile that we're looking at right now, he had himself a really good tournament back at the Season 3 kickoff a few weeks ago at IEM Katowice, where we saw actually a very impressive individual performance from him, which is something that we actually don't get to say that much in Onward. It's oftentimes very much on the team itself, but and a bit of a shining star at that event. Pants is going to strike first this time, however, for Globochem, as he finds his first mark against one of the attackers here from Phoenix. The rest of the team primarily trying to push in from the east side right now. They've got one player moved out towards the west. And we do see that, actually, Pants going down there. Unfortunately for Malno, ends up staying in the open for a little bit too long. So Raphael from the inside of the mansion itself is going to be able to pick him off just a couple seconds later.
Yeah, really good refrag there, understanding that, okay, you've got to act now, try and fight back against this, keep yourself with that number advantage, and that's exactly what Globochem have done, at least to start off with. And they've still got the player all the way back at Nicolas Cage's house. Got to love the name of that house as well, to be all things on there. He's chilling at the back, and he'll be just looking out, right, making sure that no one's trying to swarm around him enough just yet. But what this has done, already losing 2 players for Phoenix, you can see this is really disrupted in where the rest of the players have positioned themselves and where they want to go from here.
We're going to see, this is a common strat as well that we'll see players with shields use. If they have a teammate that goes down in the middle of the round, because the shield players are going to be stuck on a pistol, what they'll often do is if a teammate goes down, they'll go and recover a rifle or something like that. Now, to be fair, they're only able to hold it with one hand, so recoil is really bad. Yeah. And what they often end up doing is just single tapping it. However, he's a little bit too gung-ho with his approach this time around here. So he ends up missing the first player, Raphael, and now this is even more dangerous because he's given Raphael, normally the defenders aren't even able to get a shield. Yeah. Now he's acquired one, which is going to be a massive advantage for the rest of this round on these guys.
There's only one player left for Phoenix. Certainly outnumbered and outgunned in this, and now you're going up against a player with a shield, less than ideal. I admire the rush in, the all guns blazing, but he didn't actually get the fire shot. He wasn't aware what was going to be going on around him. And you've got to say that Globochem have this completely locked down for now. It would take off some incredible heroics. It'd probably be one of the most impressive fightbacks ever if he's able to pull this off.
Listen, he's got a good position right now. It's the start of something great. All we need is a well-placed nade. Not that nade.
not the one
Frag grenade.
Far away.
This will cover off someone who might have been holding over there by the south house, though, so I think he's trying to block it off. He's being very loud, though, so there's a good chance someone inside the house has heard him. He knows he's low on time, probably, too, so he's kind of just rushing because he doesn't really have a choice at this point. Another smoke, I believe he's got the chuck out here. He's going to throw it upstairs, and I think it missed, unfortunately, so it's not going to end up going into the window where he would have wanted it to. He'll go inside. It's a bit futile, unfortunately, and there you go. Toast will pick him off, and it's Globochem with a dominating start. 4 players alive at the end of it. Phoenix only getting 1 kill.
And there was a good option there, right, for Phoenix to kind of come in there and potentially get a couple of extra frags in there. But it was just the way that Globochem were able to hold strong on their own ability there, play the refrag position, also make sure they're covering their teammates off there. It's just overall kind of what you expect, right, from the team that's number 1 in the world at the moment.
Very much so. A little bit, unfortunately, over-aggressive for Phoenix, as we saw there. Most specifically, the player with the shield kind of just rushing in on his own. To be fair, they were already down to 2 players at that point. So there might have been a judgment mistake on his side. He might have thought he was the last player and he was trying to make a play on his own or something like that. Because that happens sometimes where players either don't have time or don't have a free hand to check their tablet. And without that, they don't really have the ability to know how many teammates they still have. So there can be situations where someone is, with a shield or their 2 hands are busy and they don't have time to check their tablet, and they just assume they're alone and make a little bit more of a daring play as a result of that to try and tilt the round back into their favor.
And that's the thing, right? When you compare this to other FPS games, you're so used to seeing HUDs where you can see all the information right in front of you. You have a good understanding of what's going on. These little mistakes can happen, and it's not because these players aren't playing at the top level. This is because you just do one thing where you don't check the tablet. You don't look into it and you go, oh, okay, I've got no idea at this moment in time. I'm just thinking I can take it. You're doing it off memory, and sometimes that just doesn't work out.
So that round is not getting started, folks, as you just saw right there. Apologies for that. Looks like we had a bit of a tech issue, and I think a few players from Phoenix disconnected. So we're going to work on getting them back to the server very quickly, and then we will continue it from the second round. So obviously, that won't count. But we are going to have Globochem leading at 1-0, which has put them already in a potential game-ending situation here. We talked about this before. For any of you that might be confused as to what I'm talking about if you were watching Season 2, the format has changed. It's now only 3 points to win instead of 4. And if you didn't notice this already, the timings have also changed. It's only 30 seconds, or 45 seconds, excuse me, in between the rounds for players to strategize. That was 2 minutes in the last season. And the round timers are now down to 5 minutes from 6 on Season 2. So obviously depending on the map, it may speed up the play a little bit for some players, kind of force them into executes a little bit earlier than they're used to, so it changes the meta a little bit. But the 3-point win is the big thing, because now a team can potentially win in just 2 rounds on its own, which Globochem has themselves in a position to do right now.
And that's it, right? All they need is that uplink to come into play, and it could be all over.
Now, to be fair, this is one of the most difficult uplinks to get in the game, just because of the fact that it's inside of a building. And on top of that, there's almost always going to be a last player somewhere in this house. So it's very unlucky that player doesn't get killed at some point during the uplink phase.
And both teams, right, when we've seen it, have completely surrounded at least 2 or 3 players within the mansion. So they're fully defending that. Interesting, though, from Globochem already, very close, very personal to this. And look at the way they're already trying to assault onto this house. Ever so slowly still, that's what we kind of see here, right? It is the more tactical style of play. But they've got themselves in a position already where they've started to swarm.
Toast, thankfully taking the right path to check the second floor windows there. Ends up on the other side of the hedges, and more importantly, dodges that grenade that was chucked down by a member of Phoenix on the second floor of the mansion here. So they're going to be able to avoid that. Pants will start to push towards the back door here in a second. I don't know if he's going to push in early enough. He might actually wait for someone to get aggressive, but in the meantime, Phoenix picking up 2 downs here. 1 player getting fully finished off, and Sri Lankan taking out Thunder Pilot here as well. Clean start for Phoenix, and just like the last round for Globochem, they get the shield. Toast will turn it around, though. Spots Rusher's peek in the second floor window and takes him out through the hedges. That'll be the first trade for them. Problem is he didn't get the full kill. He'll try to use the nade to get that now, but he missed it. That's what we were talking about before. It's a lot harder to throw nades in this game. So more than likely, we're going to look at that player getting rezzed, and there it is. Malno getting the revive up on Rushers. Pants is not stopping, though. He's committed himself, but there we go. There's the power of that shield. Malno accidentally takes out Sri Lankan in the meanwhile, but Zach Fontaine across the street will be able to catch Pants Auto, striking right back at that, though, to take down Zach. And that'll put us into a 2v3.
Unrelenting aggression coming out here from Globochem, and they're actually still in with a chance. Normally you'd see other teams quickly picked apart like this, but it's still a 2v3. It is all possible. But the remaining players of Phoenix, all within the mansion. They're all holding on to the uplink position. They know what could go wrong here. So it is going to be very rough for Globochem to deal with. But they are a team that could do it, right? If there was any one team to try and make this happen, it would be them.
Another almost on the mark nade here from the Phoenix roster. That's 2 times now that Toast has almost been picked off this round by a well-placed nade. Thankfully, he was in the right place at the right time to avoid it. Meanwhile, Otto also trying to flank around at this point, move himself down to the south so he can be in position to work with his only other remaining teammate to try and pinch this house. They've still got 2 minutes left, so they're doing a little bit better on time than Phoenix was back in round number 1. They're still going to have to try and find a way to successfully get to the inside of this house, and that's the real trouble for them, especially considering that they're outnumbered.
Toast being very careful when it comes to the windows, but Auto's going to be downed.
Good chance for a trade, though, because I think Globochem is out in the open right now. Toast, if he wraps this corner. No, Globokem's looking in this direction now, though. However, Toast, oh, they take each other out, actually. And with that, Phoenix will end the round.
Phoenix, nice comeback. Good offense from them on the defense with it, because Globochem, right, they came into a position where they were pushing very aggressively, wanted to move forward and say, okay, we're going to bring the fight straight to you early on here. They weren't looking to wait around on it, and it didn't pay off for them this time.
No, it did not. So we end up seeing Phoenix come out on top. That's 2 defender wins in a row. Both times, actually, a large part of that comes down to the defenders actually being able to steal a shield away. That denied at least one push that we saw in that most recent round from Globochem as they tried to make their way up the stairs and find a trade. I'm trying to remember who exactly that was.
Pants. He tried to rush up them stairs. He went for the shots and then probably realized, oh, this is not ideal. I don't want to look at this anytime longer.
So yeah, when Pants tried to make the push in, obviously the shield was picked up there. They were able to pretty much fend off a very rushed play that otherwise might have caught them off guard, and that kept them in a good position for the rest of that round there. So good stuff by the defenders on both times here, and now we're going to change the uplink point. It looks like it's heading to pretty much the opposite side of the map for this upcoming round here, and that's going to change the playstyles quite a bit, as it's no longer centralized in a house. It's literally in the middle of the street, as you guys will be seeing in a second, which means the defenders have to take on a very, very different playstyle for this upcoming round.
Yeah, we're going to see them kind of have to, they can't just bunker in, right? Can't sit 3 players in one building looking at it, but you can use the buildings to your advantage to make sure you're always looking towards the uplink.
Very much the case, and we're still going to see quite a few of these buildings utilized regardless, or at least the areas surrounding them. The hedges and the roadblocks are going to be heavily utilized by the defenders, as they more than likely will split off across the northern street, try to hold from here. Meanwhile, Phoenix is going to go and take a route starting from the southeast part of the map and slowly swing up to the north through the bus street.
And let's look at the map for a moment, right, and see all the different positions we're seeing here from Globochem. We've got one currently sighted in the west house. We've got one just outside on towards the buses, right by the west white car. They've got a little bit of a different variance here in how they want to tackle this, but look at the positions. There's a lot of crossfire opportunities here, and that's what's going to be most interesting. But already, a down coming out from Phoenix. Very well placed nade.
That's a big Kobe right there.
We're seeing a lot of them. The grenade impacts so far to start off week 1 have been impressive, and they're not going to be stopping anytime soon. The smoke's also going to drop, which is going to allow them to try and push up forward. And this is where Phoenix really wants to try and strike, stop them from actually having a chance to revive their player, but they're also going to eat one of their own. Pants is trying to reply, but he gets one as well. And this is not ideal. Globochem with 2 players in a position that could be taken out.
Important to note, all these kills so far have been downs, not eliminations. So any of these 3 players are still in a position to be revived. The most notable one is going to be that one from Phoenix back there, but we've had our first actual death come in now. Toast with his G3 has been able to take out Sri Lankan, and off of that we'll see one of the players from Phoenix get brought back up, but in the meanwhile Zach Fontaine is going to be able to fully eliminate another player, as I think he finishes off one of the down ones from Globochem.
Globochem in a rough spot.
Another nade's going to finish off the second down player too, so Globochem are going to lock down 3 against the 4 that Phoenix have.
This is impressive from Phoenix. Really well placed and good understanding of where to put the nades, right? Completely just upsetting where Globochem are trying to hold and have those crossfire angles to fight from.
So Otto seems to know he's got someone close to him. It seems like he's misjudged the direction, though, is going to be the thing here. He's looking towards the west side when the push is actually happening over towards his right on the east a little bit. So if he swings out from this porch at all, or if Malno is able to move up on it without being seen by the other player across the street behind that truck, he could have a free pick against Otto here.
Yeah, Malno could be really sneaky. It has to come down to what the rest of the Globochem team are doing. They can't allow for him to be just picked off looking the wrong direction. Toast is going to start off, though, and he's going to find himself a straight kill in there. But quick reply, rushes on top of it, which keeps them with the advantage, puts it into a 3v2, but it's still dangerous ground. Auto is finally found there as well. Didn't get a chance from that position. There was no cover fire to be had for him. So now we're in a 3v1, and Globochem heavily under pressure, and Phoenix looking to upset the balance here.
It's Raphael who found a pick earlier against a Malno's teammate that was pushing with him at the same time. It doesn't seem like the communication came out that Otto was dropped, however, so Malno's still looking towards that porch, assuming someone's there. Raphael does have free movement right now, because I don't think anyone's seen him, and he's going to be able to catch Malno as a result of that. One pick for him. He's got 2 more to go. He's going to have a flank eventually moving in from his left side by Rusher, so he's got to be careful of that. But if he can finish off the only other player alive from Phoenix at this point, he might still have a chance to notice that flank and recover and clutch out the round, and it will be a very impressive 1v3.
All about him trying to put this into a 1v1, but he's got to be careful of this flank. Rusher's narrowly making his way around. Raphael's already just picking up stuff on the floor, and he's not going to survive. Phoenix are going to get it done, and awesome work from them. The nades, the placement, the positioning, a key flank at the end, and Globochem are 1 point away from potentially losing their opening game here.
Yeah, which would be a big surprise. And
massively. Quite
a way to start off the VRL for Season 3 here in Onward, at least in our North American circuit, of course. So great stuff from Phoenix so far. The tactics are great. Their movement, more importantly, is really smart for the most part. We're not really seeing them over peak or anything. Like a few mistakes, to be fair, but it's Onward, and the game that gives the players such limited visibility, and not only that, just information in general. Those kinds of mistakes are going to happen multiple times on both teams in pretty much every round. You can't really fault the players as much for that as you could in a more normal game, something like CS or even traditional Arma game or something like that. So mistakes are bound to happen a lot more, but it's the way that teams adapt to that and try to overcome things that might even not be called out, just that players notice on their own throughout the course of a battle is the real highlight of skill when it comes to Onward.
And that's it, right? There's so many variables to this game which make it that little bit harder, but that gives it such a great tactical element when we're looking at the competitive side of things, because it comes down to those very tiny details on how exactly it may go down in terms of just how you communicate, right? Like we said about the radio, where they just sometimes use the Morse code approach and just clicking away. But even that can still be heard. We had a little bit of fun earlier on the EU side of things where he's like, oh, I can hear you guys. Like he's literally telling them, he's like yeah, you're too close. I know you're nearby. But them small details, though, that show, okay, there is actually a player close by, right? It's the information plays you can try and work off of.
Which that specific instance was really funny because I don't think there was anyone actually near him. So I'm pretty sure he was talking to no one under those circumstances.
He was just like, I'm going to play with him. If they can hear me, let's go.
Might have been misreading the minimap, but yeah. Either way, it was a little bit of fun that we, again, don't see. Usually the players are like really serious and really tactical. Besides when they're in the spawn box at the start of every round, they normally don't mess around too much with the comms, so.
Now we are going to stay with the uplink on the North Street. Like we saw a much more open area. Now, Phoenix, they showed us how to approach it massively in a very, very perfected way. Their nades were on point. They seem to understand where Globochem were placing themselves. The question is, will they now have an idea of how Globochem will attack it?
Well, let's find out, of course, as we've got Toast and the others starting to move up. They'll take up positions near the mansion first. They just want to make sure that Phoenix aren't going to try anything crazy here to try and end the game early. Got an interesting weapon hold there from Zach Fontaine. The sideways AK, shooting a gangster style over the barrier there.
Straight away.
What's with the nades today? It is a down, so it's not a full kill just yet, but still, that's the 3rd or 4th round now.
Oh my!
Wait, is that another one? That's an elimination this time too. Sri Lankan, just the ace with these nades here so far. We will see Thunder Pilot get brought back up at least, so they're still standing.
Wow!
There's the revenge though coming in from Pants to take him out.
He's saying anything I can do, anything you can do, I can do better. He believes that he can fire back these nades on him. And okay, they can see where the nades are coming from, right? They're going quite up high, gives them an idea of where to throw it at. But these have been on point.
They're hard to notice though, because obviously the trails aren't there.
Yeah, they're not there for the players.
And they don't make much sound, as you would kind of expect from them. You only hear like the thump when they land on the ground. So if one lands near you, there's a pretty good chance you're not going to notice. This is on the players just kind of. It's weird to say this, obviously, for players coming from the games. They're kind of pre-firing with the nades a little bit, checking like common spots that people would be hiding in. And so far, everyone's hitting their mark today. I don't know why.
And I'm guessing, right, if you're Phoenix, you've got a lot of data to look at on how Globochem may play. A map like Suburbia, like you said, a popular map that in it, well balanced, which means, okay, let's take a couple of these gambles. Let's throw out some of these grenades and see if we can make it work.
Either way, we've currently got Phoenix kind of trapped a little bit. It seems like most of their positions are pretty well known here. So Globochem's having to work around that. But obviously Globochem have run into struggles of their own. They've worked their way through most of the neighborhood now. But they haven't really taken any street control over at the far east or west side of this. So getting onto that main street here in the north is going to be the difficult part about this. They're basically walking into an incredibly open area with a complete lack of intel besides the few players they've managed to do damage to with nades and downed, obviously.
Flame one's down.
Very nice, good start there for Pants to go down as well, straight in with the kill. So now in a 5v3, and Globochem could be losing their opening game here for week 1. A huge upset, certainly, but a big win if Phoenix can pull it off. Now the pressure is on Globochem, and it's going to look at their positions. A few shots being fired off, but it's more of an understanding on how we try and keep ourselves going, where we can go and work our way around these various houses, because there's 2 players in the mill house, literally now starting to move out from it, going out open into the street. And that's the confidence Phoenix has. They're willing to come out and take these pushes and look for some of the remaining Globochem players. Oh, a brilliant nade comes out. Once again, it's going to be a straight kill with it as well. Sri Lankan's position, well known.
Nice cook time on that too from Raphael.
Still dead, not dead? Fuck.
And that's what you get with some of the audio.
It's all good here. But regardless, we will see Globochem continue to try and battle their way back into this round now with 4 players still standing on Phoenix, and most of them being relatively unknown. Sri Lanka was the one they took down with a nade earlier, so they already had a good amount of intel to suggest he would have been in that porch, and that's a pretty common spot for at least one player to hide anyway. So that's the easy one. It's the rest that are kind of in a little bit of an open door policy here in terms of where the rest of these players could be hiding at. So Globochem have to be very careful with how they proceed. Malno is going to be able to find one of them. Manages it down. Raphael in the process. Otto making moves, though. Quickly trades that right back and brings us into the 2v3. Globochem are just losing too many players too quickly here, though. Thunder Pilot's been knocked out, and it's all on Otto now in a 1v3.
Now he's had 2 kills already. Killed off the player behind Red Car, who had actually moved out from Millhouse, where we saw Sri Lankan go down. So it was an interesting decision-making. He moved out before an aid came in. It could have been potential for a kill and a down with how close those 2 players were. Now this would be very insane to watch Auto try and pull this off. His position is going to be more than known here. Rushers was looking the right way. He's got to be careful on how far they're going to allow him to creep up. Slow and steady wins the race, but with only 35 seconds to go, Auto might have bitten off more than he can chew, and that's exactly what happens. Rushers gets the last kill, and a 3-1 victory for Phoenix. They're going to be more than happy with that. The number 3 team kind of on the standings at the moment for the VR Master League, going up against the number 1, the team who also won at Katowice.